Winona Ryder is disappointed.
Yes. Let's pull that one up. If I can figure this out. There we go. Winona from IndieWire. Winona Ryder is disappointed by younger co-stars who aren't cinephiles. Actors should be interested in movies. For Winona Ryder, one of the strangest things of all is how Gen Z actors aren't actually interested in movies. Ryder, whose own stardom began at age 14 with her film debut in the 1986 Lucas, told the LA Times that the younger generation of stars today don't respect film history. I don't mean to sound so hopeless, Ryder said. There are a few that are just not interested in movies. Like the first thing they say is, how long is it? And so begins the guessing game of whom Ryder could be referring to. The Stranger Things and Beetlejuice actress quickly started ruling out potential anti-cinephiles, beginning with fellow film-obsessed actress Jenna Ortega. Ryder told the outlet that Ortega referenced Mikhail Kalatozov, 1964 I Am Cuba, which per the LA Times immediately impressed Ryder. Ryder says she almost wept hearing Ortega reference specific shots from the classic. Ryder's Stranger Things co-star Finn Wolfhard is a vocal fan of Elliot Gould's filmography. Sadie Sink and Hollywood royalty Maya Hawke were also ruled out by Ryder. I'm not a religious person, Ryder said. I'm not anti-religion, but I feel like the closest is film, and it's to me a very sacred thing. I feel so protective, but I'm not in any place to be in control. It's not up to me.
First of all, let me comment on this. It's important it's the one thing. There are 3 qualifications to write for Film Threat. You have to be passionate about film, right? Passionate, right? Because you're not, look, believe me, you're not getting paid a lot to write about movies these days. So passion. Number 2, grammatical and writing skill. It's important to know your strunk and white. Look that up. Strunk and white. Know your grammar. Like, can you write? And, you need to know that.
Yeah.
And the last thing, knowledge of film history. There is a common, when Alan and I have conversations, we have many connecting points. I can reference, say, a Pulp Fiction, or I can reference, say, a movie from the 80s, or I can reference, say, a movie from the 60s. I could reference the original West Side Story, directed by Robert Wise, starring
Natalie Wood.
There you go.
And Rita Moreno.
Right. We can go back. Film classics, great films, bad films. There is a language amongst film aficionados that is important. And the best actors, I will say this, the best actors, and Winona Ryder has been amazing in the fact that her career has spanned from when she was a child at 14 to now, and she looks amazing. Let's be honest. She looks really incredible. She's had that long of a career. She knows cinema, can use that word and speak to that. And the thing is this, there's so much to know in film. Not any one person can know it all. So it's a collective conversation where everyone brings something to the table. Maybe you know more about Asian cinema, or I know more about Godzilla movies, whatever. That was a stupid rep. Why did I say that?
No.
But what I'm saying is everyone knows, you can't know it all. People know sort of sections of cinema. Horror, you're not well-versed in horror. That's perfectly fine. You have other things you know a lot more about than I do. But having that common language of movies, you have to have seen the AFI's top 100 films, at least have seen those. And I agree. It's sad to see there's almost a lack of interest, which is why I feel like when you see the younger people in movies, they don't have that collective in your DNA knowledge of film past. What are your thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, when I see Gen Z posting on social media that The Acolyte, The Acolyte is the greatest story they've ever seen, And then you start seeing all these little posts of, how can you beat a scene like this? And they'll quote something from The Current Crow or something like that. It just shows you that they've not seen a movie that's older than 2016.
Right.
And it's sad. It's sad. There's this, for some reason, when during the Hollywood system, filmmakers were filmmakers. They were artists, and it was, when you have this giant screen, when you had CinemaScope, you need to fill that giant screen with interesting images. You need to know how to shoot things. The end of The Fabelmans, when they're talking about, is it John Ford, where they're talking about what's interesting and what's not.
What's interesting. The end of The Fabelmans, that last scene with David Lynch. Watch that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah, and it's all about composition.
Yeah,
that's what that scene is about. In acting as well. To call certain actors, great. You've got to earn these things. You just can't bestow it upon people who haven't been in the game long enough or understand these things. And it just saddens me to know that to hear a young person say this is the greatest movie they've ever seen, and realize, no, you've not seen enough films to be able to make that statement.